Thanks, Kelsey. Thanks so much, Susan and Karen, for joining us today for our Better Together speaker series, where we're featuring experts in the community sharing about different aspects that affect brain health. So appreciate you guys being with us. Just a little bit about the Brain Center. We are a nonprofit high impact organization here in the community, serving as a resource for individuals, groups, care partners, employers, schools, really anyone who wants to know more about their brains and wants to be proactive in their brain health. And we do that through a model of care, CARE. We collaborate with other organizations, including LLI and UWGB, to promote wellness in the community, promote brain health, and also connect resources in the community. We advocate for those that have brain disease and conditions that are challenged, seeking understanding, inclusion, and acceptance. We promote research, that's the R in our care model, and the advancement of science and search for cures and finding better ways, because there's so many people that are impacted by neurodegenerative diseases. And we educate, so that's part of our mission today, is to proactively equip people of all ages and all generations with information to best take care of their brains and bodies throughout life. And we are so grateful we are able to do this due to the generosity of the community and donors, and want to specifically highlight the Green Bay Packers Give Back program, who is sponsoring our program today. Thank you, Kelsey.
So today we are focusing on continuing education, and our speaker today is Sue Pike from the LLI at UWGB, along with Karen, who is a member. So I'm going to pass things over to them. And for individuals who are watching us live on Facebook or through this webinar, feel free to send questions, and I will be monitoring the chat as we go, and then we can answer that at the end. So looking forward to this, and passing it to you, Sue.
Thank you, Kelsey, and thank you, Chris and Doctor. It's so good to be here with everyone today, and we really have a good collaboration going between our two organizations. So we are just so thankful for everyone at the Brain Center. A very big supporter of LLI. Kelsey mentioned the doctors do courses for LLI, Lifelong Learning Institute, for a while now. So we greatly appreciate their perspective and sharing their expertise with our lifelong learning members. So a little bit about lifelong learning. We're founded in 1991. So we are celebrating our 30th anniversary this year. So very proud of that fact. So in the Green Bay area, 30 years strong. And we are a nonprofit also, part of UW Green Bay. Back in 2019, I believe, when UW Marinette, UW Manitowoc, and UW Sheboygan came under the UW Green Bay umbrella, we were able to expand the Lifelong Learning Institute into the communities of Manitowoc and Sheboygan. So we held several classes in those areas in the fall of 19 and started the spring of 20, and then everything came to a halt, as we all know. Very happy to say that we are expanding into the Marinette area starting this fall. So excited about that. We are run primarily by volunteers. So I'm the only paid staff person. So we have well over 300 volunteers that make this organization the success it is. So namely our course recruiters. So those are all volunteer LLI members who put all the courses together and work with presenters. So they've done a wonderful job. Now, normally we meet in person. So we have met many classes on campus at UW Green Bay and then the other communities now also. But we also have classes out in the community, whether it's at local community centers, that type of thing. We do have to utilize some of the venues out in the community, which I think our members do enjoy that also. So after every class, we have our lifelong learning members fill out a course evaluation to give us feedback, what they liked, that type of thing. And what we have found when we had to move to online delivery of classes were a lot of people surprisingly enjoyed that. I think they were surprised too, because what we hear a lot of times from them with the online classes, it's nice just to be able to go sit at your computer or take your iPad or laptop on the couch or the recliner and just log in and start participating in the class. They spoke about not having to drive to campus, not having to find a parking spot. So it was well received. We have had a whole host of LLI members too that have shared with us part of the reason they joined Lifelong Learning Institute is the social aspect of it. So many members cannot wait to get back in the classroom to resume the interaction with other people. So we had kind of a mixed bag of our response to our online classes. So I knew already last fall, the feedback we were given, that we would always go forward offering both in-person classes and online classes. So that's just going to be a reality going forward for Lifelong Learning Institute. So a little bit about that. So when we had to go online, that was a lot of LLI members that you know, a lot of us, myself, primarily, I wanted to make myself available to every LLI member. So just the fact that we were forced to deliver online classes wasn't a reason that somebody didn't continue with lifelong learning for that time period. So that's another thing. We feel it is very important to offer that one-on-one as much as we can, because for a lot of our LLI members, this online stuff is very new. So I am so happy and proud of our demographic, our students who hung in there with us, and each class, it got a little bit better, a little bit easier. And I think a lot of them surprised themselves with how comfortable they've gotten with our online classes, logging in, raising their hands, you know, getting the whole hang of online classes. So again, there, challenge, push yourself a little bit and you just grow, and so much more comfortable with it. So looking forward then for the fall semester, we are proud to offer 246 classes. Now that's, yeah, it's incredible. It's just amazing what our volunteer curriculum recruiters put together every single semester. So that's a mix of in-person classes. So we're offering about 138 in-person classes in the fall semester. We are offering a good number. I think we have about 55 or 60 online classes still, and then a whole host of outdoor classes. So we have a couple, one course recruiter that is a master gardener. So she has contacts with every nature center all throughout eastern Wisconsin. So she has put together a lot of very interesting classes to get our members outside, a little bit more active. So whether it was like last fall, the Thousand Island Nature Center down in Kaukauna, right on the Fox River, I never knew about it, but that one was set up and our members arrived in the morning and helped the staff there count eagles at the nature preserve. So that got really great comments. It could be snowshoeing. It could be, you know, anything like that. We have hiking, we have biking. So yeah, those outdoor classes have become very, very important to our LLI members. They're always very, very popular. The other method of delivery that we found our members are liking a lot too is when our presenters would pre-record a class. So we do have several presenters that prefer to do that versus a live online, but that definitely has its place too. We have one, like Karen's husband, Gary. He presents for several years, several really technical, I would say, Karen, right, classes, like on genetics, for example. Well, that lends itself beautifully to being pre-recorded, right, Karen?
Variety of science classes. This last semester, he did one on Einstein and the theory of relativity. So,
and what
kind of a limited audience as to who's interested in that, but it's well received by people who are interested in it. So.
Yeah, and what we hear is that it's nice because some of those topics, you know, some of our members were very much into those topics in college a long time ago. Others just did not get into those topics at all, and they're just curious about it. What we're hearing is it's nice to be able to listen to the lecture for maybe a half hour and then pause it, maybe come back the next day and do another half hour, take it in bits and pieces. So we've been hearing that's a very, very welcome form of class delivery also, is pre-recording it. So you hear the presenter talking to PowerPoint slides. So that's been working out really well. Tours have also been a really vital part of our Lifelong Learning Institute. In the past, we haven't resumed it after COVID yet, but we certainly will, whether it be Saruji's, that one's still on hold yet. But in fall, we're gonna get back to doing tours of the automobile gallery. We have about 16 different tours set up for fall in Green Bay, in the Manitowoc area, a little bit all over, so.
One of those we're going back to this year is the Artisan Center through NWTC. Which is on Main Street, and they give us a tour and then also have students make things, use the equipment at the Artisan Center. So yeah, that's what we're coming back to as well this fall.
Yeah. You know, one thing I think that our program stands out is just the wide breadth of offerings. So something for everybody. Now, normally, typically our classes are during the day. So we have standard times, either 10 to noon or 1 to 3 is when our classes are. So that may vary a little bit. Maybe a presenter wants to start at 9:30, but typically 10 to noon or 1 to 3 in the afternoon. Many of those classes are just one-time lectures or whatever, just for one day for 2 hours and it's done. But we have a good number of classes that go maybe 2 weeks long, 3 weeks. And then we also have those like our games class that hasn't come back yet. Karen, do you recall what the exact title of that one is? That Strategic Thinking Through Games, I think that was it. And that was it's always so popular because, yeah, it just challenges people. They play a variety of different, mainly board games, but so that one had gone 8 or 9 weeks, I believe.
However, this semester we do have chess coming back, learn how to play chess, I believe, and there's about 4 of them.
Backgammon.
Individual. It's a shorter class and you learn how to play one game. I think those are all coming back this semester.
Yes, correct. Meet at Gnome Games, and the owner there has been really good to Lifelong Learning too. Our members go there to his store, and there's a section where they are off to the side where he teaches them how to play those games. So very popular. But yeah, so those are examples of classes that might go many weeks long. Some of our book clubs, either it's a mystery to me or the Books and You book club, those go many weeks also, as does our continuing issues class. Some of these classes have been going for over 20 years, like our continuing issues class. They just discuss local, state, national, and world issues of the day or of the week. And so yeah, that one goes probably closer to 8 weeks too. So a big variety of how many weeks these classes go. Now, I wanted to touch on just briefly, being a lifelong learning member, taking classes, right? But I want to touch on something that I have seen from my side of this. In addition to benefiting from taking classes, what I have seen is a lot of people benefit from volunteering with lifelong learning. And whether, I mean, like I said, there's over 300 volunteers that help make this program go. But I see where this is a real volunteering in an area that people love, right? It's just such a beneficial thing for everyone, including our demographic, our members. So whether it be, thinking of new course ideas and contacting presenters, or maybe it's something simple as, or I shouldn't say simple, but being a coordinator for the class. With that many classes, we have to rely on volunteers. So every class, in-person class, we assign a coordinator. So they, a week before or 2 weeks before the class, they contact the presenter, make sure the presenter is all set. They welcome LLI students as they arrive at the classroom and have them sign in. People love that type of not real in-depth, hard volunteer or time-consuming volunteer activity. But the one I was most surprised about is presenters. So our presenters are all volunteers also. Lifelong Learning, our Lifelong Learning Institute program at UW Green Bay has never paid presenters. So that is all on a volunteer basis. And as Karen can agree with me here, that many semesters we have more presenters that want to present than we can handle. So unfortunately, we do have to turn some presenters away. So yeah, I think why presenting for lifelong learning is so popular and such a positive experience for our presenters. Like we have several current and retired professors that teach for us. And what we hear from them is that it's so refreshing to teach to lifelong learning students because they want to be there. They ask really engaging, interesting questions, and it's just fun for them. It's different than the traditional students a little bit than what they're used to teaching their whole career. So yeah, we hear that. They really enjoy presenting for lifelong learning. Now, most of our presenters are just your, you and I, right? Lifelong learning members or people in the community who have a passion for a subject or a craft and want to share that with others. Or maybe a person, their career lends itself, what they had done their entire career lends itself to an interesting topic for our lifelong learning members. And in the case of the Brain Center, just getting the word out, sharing so that our lifelong learning members know what's available, what the Brain Center offers to us. So that is a little bit, yes, taking classes with LLI, a big benefit, but boy, I do see a big benefit to continuing to volunteer and to continue or present topics to our lifelong learning members. Really, really benefits those people that do that too. You can tell they enjoy it. You can tell they enjoy sharing what they're passionate about or what they live their life doing. So yeah, that's where I see a big benefit for those people that do that. So I think at this point, I will turn it over to Karen. Karen's going to give us a little bit of insight as far as why she is part of the Lifelong Learning Institute taking classes. She's also a very generous volunteer for our organization also. So I'll turn it over to her, and then I will continue on with a couple different categories that we have. Karen's going to talk about some specific categories and classes.
Okay, thank you, Sue. Sue asked me to mention why I'm a member of Lifelong Learning. And when I retired, one of my goals was to be able to take some classes on things that I had never had time to look into while I was working. And Lifelong Learning has presented me with that opportunity. It's been just fascinating to take classes through Lifelong Learning. There's such a wonderful variety, as Sue was saying, in the classes. It keeps my curiosity alive. I have learned things that I never even knew existed. There are so many people out there with expertise that are willing to share it with lifelong learning. A good example of that is this last semester, one of the professors shared the background of viruses and the pandemic. He talked specifically about what COVID-19 was, what it's doing, how we're working on it. It was fascinating to hear the science side of it from someone who really knows. And so he was very excited to share with our organization and was very well received. Every semester we have so many classes. As Sue said, we have over 200 this year. So you cannot take, well, I can't take everything that I'm interested in every semester. So it's nice to have some repeats, because if I'm not able to take it one semester, it might be offered another semester and I can take it then. It has also improved my technological abilities, as Sue was saying, during the pandemic. I needed to learn how to use Zoom and Blackboard, which was the platforms through UWGB. It also gave me some empathy to understand what teachers and students were going through, who were doing this on a daily basis during the pandemic. It's also given me an opportunity to meet new people. This past year, I've met new people virtually, but it's been wonderful. And also make new friends with people who have many of the same interests that I do. And as Sue said, it's also given me a way to volunteer. I like volunteering in worthwhile organizations, and lifelong learning is one of those. We have moderating, as Sue mentioned, coordinating office work, and with any organization, there's committee work. I'm presently on the curriculum committee, which is fascinating. We usually contact our presenters through online letters and get a good response from people contacting them online, and also offering classes. So as Sue said, many of our members offer classes. My husband has been able to keep on teaching science just to LLI members this time. We've also had professors who moved away and continue to offer classes through lifelong learning from, we had one this past semester from Georgia. He moved to Georgia, but continues to offer classes here. So that's been very nice to see as well, that our presenters are excited about continuing to present for us. Then Sue also asked me to talk about some of the writing and literature classes we offer. One of our writing classes that's been very popular is writing memoirs. And I spoke with the teacher, Luann Norsetter, just yesterday. It's being offered again this next semester, and it's for people who want to write. And it's typically short topics, 600 words or less. It's based on your personal experiences. And she said oftentimes just looking back at something from your life and reflecting on it gives you a different outlook on it. She said it has become a community, a trusted community, because when you are writing your memoirs, you agree to share with other members of the group. And they have been able to continue to do that through Zoom. She said one thing that changed this year is they continue to meet over the summer. And they often combine, they share their writing first, and then they go for a bike ride. So it's been a little writing, a little exercise. But that has been going on many semesters now. They meet 6 times during the semesters, or for 6 weeks. They're going to meet 4 times in person 4 times online this semester, 2 times in person. So that's been a very popular writing class. We also have a poetry writing class this semester that's being offered. class, Sue, I don't know if this is new or not, but it's Writing for Health. Is that a brand new course, or is that one that's been offered before?
This gal gave it for the first time this past spring semester, and I was able to be part of in that class, and I cannot tell you how good of a class it was. It was just fabulous. Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that? When I was going through our writing classes, I hadn't seen that one before, so I have to admit that that was a new one for me.
Yes, and I'm trying to think where the gal is from. With so many classes, I have a hard time keeping track of everyone here. But maybe somebody that has a connection with the ADRC, I think. But anyway, she has a medical background, and she just shared with us how many areas of our life can be improved by writing. And so we did some writing, just short examples, but she really stressed the health benefit of writing in the many different areas. But a lot of this too is the way they present the class. You know, she just took it down to a level that spoke to every one of us. So that would be definitely a class I would recommend going forward.
Very good. And then the other topic, literature, we have quite a wide variety. We have 2 different classes this next semester on Robert Frost. One of them is given by two of our members who are actors, and they act out different poems of Robert Frost. And the other one on Robert Frost is given by a former literature professor, and he looks at the more technical aspects of it, but in an absolutely fascinating way, and gives us an insight into Robert Frost and his life through writing. There's also a class that he gives as well on Ireland and its poets. We have one given by another professor on Victorian sea stories, and it is Rebecca Nesbitt. And Rebecca gives us just a different outlook on literature generally from the 1800s, middle to late 1800s in England. It's fascinating how much of that is still used today in some of our movies, our cartoons. Its origins are back in that era. This next semester, she's talking about Victorian sea stories. And then Sue has already mentioned some of the other reading classes, like It's a Mystery to Me and Books and You. We also have one this next semester on some Nobel women's novels, and it is touching on 4 out of the 6 English-speaking women who have been awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature since that prize was started in 1901. And they're meeting every other Friday to discuss 3 of those novels. So it gives you time to read in between. Another fascinating look at some of our English literature. So every semester, you know, this changes, but fascinating opportunities for people who are interested in this. So Sue, do you have anything else to add on that? Would you like me to go further, or what would you like me to do?
Let's see. Yeah, so let's talk about a little bit about the health and wellness.
Okay.
Yeah, you and I can both do that. Do you want to start, or I can?
I'll start. I have a few things. We have a new course that I think was offered last semester, but is again this next semester, about supplements, staying healthy through supplements. And that's a new presenter for us. And she looks at whether or not you should supplement, which are good, which aren't. Strength and balance for seniors, which is always an important thing. As a senior, I'm very concerned with my strength and my balance. diving deeper into the ins and outs of cancer care, active memory. I think, especially, you know, being that this is offered by the Brain Center, this is something that all of us as seniors should be interested in, is keeping our memory active. Sleeping through the ages, because that's so important through our health and for our health, and it looks at different aspects of sleep and how we can improve it. Statistics during the pandemic. One of our members was has a PhD in statistics, and he's giving us a look at what all of these different statistics that we're hearing about for the pandemic mean, and I think help us apply it to our knowledge of what's going on with the pandemic. Healthy living for your brain and understanding Alzheimer's is another health class, fascinating class that's very important. Laser therapy in chiropractic care, fascinating class. So you can see the variety that we have. We have a class on lymphedema, a class on reducing stress, and also doing heart healthy things. One of the professors at UWGB offers a class on race walking. It's kind of his passion. So of course, that isn't what he teaches at UWGB, but he is an expert in it. And he's going to be teaching a race walking class for us, which is just a wonderful class as well. Anyone can do it. You don't have to be a runner to do this. Living well with hearing loss is another one of our good classes. And this past semester, we started yoga for everyone. So we have an instructor from Madison who offers a weekly yoga class. I think this next semester it's for 3 weeks. Wonderful instructor. And yoga increases your balance. It increases your mobility. I just can't say enough good things about yoga. So that's another excellent class for our health. And she gets into a little bit of the meditation, which is taking care of our brain. So those are some of the wellness classes we offer this next semester.
Yeah, thank you, Karen. You know, and another long-running one in the health and wellness, the way we do death and dying, right, Karen? I believe she's retired now, retired professor, has done that one for Lifelong Learning Institute for several years already, how we do death and dying. So a topic that most of us aren't, you know, we just don't seek that out or anything, but that one has been very popular for many semesters running. So lot of caring for the caregiver, that type of class, anticipatory grief, you know, that type of class, especially with our resources now that we have down in the Sheboygan area, the Manitowoc area, we've really stepped it up a notch. ADRC, Brain Center, you know, so supportive. We're adding a lot more of the caregiver, that kind of thing, class too. So those have been real popular also. So yeah, so I want to stress, I guess, basically, we know we all need to keep learning, to keep our mind sharp. We know we all need to keep moving, to keep our body in the best shape possible. So we all know that. So what better way to get these activities is join other people in our demographic to do this and have some fun at the same time. So all our classes are non-credit, just to learn for the fun of it, I believe is our tagline, right, Karen? So I've been part of this organization for over 4 years, and I just feel blessed to have been given the opportunity to be on the staff end of Lifelong Learning organization. It's just very impressive. So,
Sue, I just want to give a shout out to, because this is concentrating on literature and the brain and so on, but we also have classes on history and science, science and nature outdoors,
Yeah, and Karen, I was gonna, we got a little bit of time here, so I'm gonna touch just a little bit on those right now. And yeah, okay. So history is wildly popular with our lifelong learning members. I didn't realize that. I was a little surprised, but boy, we can never have enough history classes, whether it's shipwrecks on the Great Lakes like we had in spring. One that the Manitowoc curriculum recruiters put together is Evergleam, the aluminum Christmas trees from way back in the day. Beautiful. The Manitowoc Library has a display of them, and they gave a private class and talked about those aluminum Christmas trees for our members. Very, very popular class. The origins and consequences of the Great War, World War II. Again, that one, they always fill these history classes. The 60s, a living history. So there too, a retired professor from UW Green Bay just has a passion about that. So he has been doing that 60s class for several years for us also, and enjoys it very much. John Mino will be back, if you recall, or if you recognize that name, which many of us do. So he is going to give a class this fall, and he's done this in the past, but he is going to bring 4 or 5 guests, either Vietnam, Iraq, or the Afghanistan military veterans, to be in this talk for our lifelong learning members. So those, again, very popular. Government and politics end up being a really interesting category of classes too. So we do have I think his line of work in his career had been more corporate management, that type of thing. But boy, he does classes on, he's been doing a series of classes on Russia. So in fall, he's going to do one on Putin's Russia, or Russian Putin. So it's kind of building off of one that he had last fall, and just interesting things. He gave one on the 21st century population bomb. Oh my gosh, that got really, really good reviews, because these are things that we may not necessarily seek out, right? And for him to do all that research and be on top of these subjects, it's just such an interesting thing for us. You know, and all these things in a roundabout way keep us sharp, keep us mentally sharp, and just benefit us. The arts, now Karen and I talked about this briefly. We offer many art and craft classes. So several of them are for if you have experience, but many are for beginners. To dabble in it, see if that's something they are interested in. And the one Karen and I talked about a little bit this morning is called Zentangles. I don't know how long Zentangles has been around, but basically it's, I think, like doodling. So you don't have to have any art experience, but it just gives a little bit of creativity. And like Karen mentioned, it just gives you a calming effect. So I'm hoping to be able to sit in on one of those classes. We're offering several Zentangles class. So again, a benefit. Fitness, like Karen mentioned, are race walking, but we have offered ballroom dancing, a couple different ones. In fall, we're going to offer the cha-cha and one other one I can't recall at the moment, but very popular too. We've always, for years, have offered line dancing. This presenter, Jim, I forgot what his career was. Was he a teacher? Karen, do you know? I don't recall.
I'm not sure either.
Yeah, but he gives 3 different levels of line dancing: beginner, basic, and advanced. So these are 3 separate classes. Each one goes for weeks, and he teaches how to line dance. Now that is a very good form of staying active and keeping your body in shape. Now, because we were forced to go online, he was so gracious in recording his line dancing classes last fall. It took a lot of time for him to do it, but you know what? I think it was a big benefit to some people, especially beginner, people that had never line danced before. They could watch these recordings in the privacy of their own home they could play it over and over again and get some line dancing in. And so we're offering, he's going to go back in the classroom, but actually it's a big gymnasium here in town that we use for these types of classes. And but we're also going to offer his recordings again for any new people that join Lifelong Learning, and prefer to do something like that at their home. And like I said, they can play the recordings over and over and over as much as they want. So let's see, special interest. We always have a whole host of classes in the special interest category. So this fall, the U.S. Secret Service, that one always has been intriguing and very, very enjoyable. Climate change and energy policy, Michael Kraft, retired professor, always has been doing classes for us, and he's going to do the climate change and energy policy for us again this fall. Another new one from the Sheboygan area, this gentleman, he's from Sheboygan, but he did this class there in fall of 19. The title is Those Thrilling Days of Yesteryear, a look at the golden age of radio. So he is gracious enough to come up to Green Bay. I think, yeah, he'll be on campus to give that class in fall. I heard really good comments about that one also. The art of thrift store shopping. So we have a couple of those. One is in the classroom, I think, up in Marinette. A gal, a very vibrant gal from Manitowoc gives that one in the classroom too, but she's also going to take a group to the local St. Vincent de Paul store, I believe in Manitowoc, and show them what things to look for when putting an outfit together, or what things to look for when finding decorations, for example, for your living room, that type of thing. So that's going to be a really, really fun one. A group is touring the 911 Dispatch Center in Manitowoc this fall. And then just fun ones, cruising the Great Lakes with Captain Norm and First Mate Wendy. So Norm and Wendy have been longtime members of Lifelong Learning, and Norm has presented classes for us. Well, they decided, you know what, they have a passion for sailing. They've sailed extensively, so let's share that with Lifelong Learning members. So that class, I'm sure, will fill up too, without a doubt. So anyway, that gives you just a little bit of background of how many different areas and you know, attending the class is for fun, but you don't realize at the same time what you're doing for your person, for your soul. So anyway, let's see. Any questions from those of you that are on right now for Karen or I?
I'm not seeing any rolling yet. We'll let that kind of sit for a minute. Dr. Luloff, do you have anything that you would like to add quick too before we open it up to questions again?
On now?
There we go.
There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
This has been really, really interesting. I started to take notes because I thought, I want to remember that. I've got 2 pages of notes of interesting topics. And what struck me is how we're all so individually different. But once we get to know somebody, we find out how much we have in common and how much we can learn. We often don't know what question to ask because we haven't touched that topic. And once you start thinking about that topic, all of a sudden, I have so many questions, it's unbelievable. And we've all been too busy to touch into things that we don't know. We take for granted that what we're doing is enough. Hey, we only have so many days left. Today's the first day to start learning and to get in better health. And so this is unique. The other thing is that what I'm hearing is also that this is the glue that puts the parts together. And getting all the parts, there are so many parts that we haven't been exposed to yet. And so we need to. So this has been very, very educational. Certainly, I thought, I didn't know what I was going to hear. And I love it. So,
yeah. So
you know, I was worried because periodically I yawn. It's not because I'm bored. I just didn't get quite enough sleep last night. So.
You know, and like I mentioned earlier, the collaboration we have with the doctors and Chris and Kelsey at the Brain Center, yeah, this is the kind of thing we need to get the word out, what you guys are doing at the Brain Center. And in return, oh my goodness, our members, you know, learning what is offered there too. So it's a really, really good collaboration both ways. So yeah, Karen, what else? Anything that you would have to add, or Chris, any questions for us?
I think the only thing I would add is, you know, we often speak to our clients and folks that contact the Brain Center on, they have questions about what they can be doing to stimulate their brain, especially in the pandemic. And boy, having this resource right in town and not even needing to be in town because of all the virtual options you're going to continue to offer is such an awesome thing that we and our volunteer coaches have the ability to share and say, if you're looking for something to stimulate your brain in the area of arts and to get outside, to meet some new people, because we know supporting good brain health is stimulating your brain, but also surrounding yourself by a supporting cast, whatever that looks like. If it's caregivers, if it's your family, if it's a group of friends, if it's new people you met that are helping trigger ideas and thoughts that you never had before. That's all so important for our brain health. So thanks for what you guys are doing. It's amazing. I've learned so much. You helped stimulate my brain this morning. And I am fascinated about that thrift store shopping class. So I'm going to check into that.
Yes. The other thing that we didn't touch on, but Lifelong Learning has always participated in travel opportunities, and that's been such a benefit because, you know, whether it be the gal that's widowed or whatever, you know what, traveling with a group of people that you're comfortable with, whether it's solo or as a couple. So that's been a big part of lifelong learning in the past also. We've had to unfortunately close that down for a while now with COVID, but hopefully we're going to see if we can't start up some day trips in fall again. So we are part of the Continuing Education and Community Engagement Division at UW Green Bay. And they have a couple of gals that put the travel opportunities together for lifelong learning. So that's another benefit. Lifelong learning members pretty much get first dibs on reserving seats, and then if there's still open seats, it's opened up to the general public. But that's something we've been hearing about from our members that's very very welcomed and very well participated in. And then we have several social events throughout the year. We have our spring fling, and it's also an opportunity for lifelong learning members that participated in arts, crafts, even culinary classes to bring what they've created. And we set up sort of a gallery at this event. And these are all held during the day. Very rarely do we have events at night, either classes or socials like this at night. So that's our spring fling. And then we have a fall, actually I should say the spring fling, that's also tied in. We have our annual meeting at that time also. But then we have a fall kickoff in September, and that is always very fun. So we are planning on being able to resume that this fall semester. And it's usually just a really delicious lunch at various places, like at the spring fling we usually have at the Tundra Lodge, right, Karen? And then my favorite is the holiday social. So we've been having that at the Riverside Ballroom, right, Karen? I'm questioning myself there, but yeah, the Riverside Ballroom. It's just a beautiful venue during the holidays, the way they decorate it. So that's been really fun also. There's,
For that one, some of our members who are able to sing have formed a choir, and they perform at the Christmas social as well.
Good point. I forgot that. So yeah. that really, see, there's so many opportunities in lifelong learning that, you know, it just enhances people's lives so much. You can be as involved, or maybe just attend classes, not socialize a whole lot, whatever you prefer. So it's a good opportunity for everyone. So.
A question I have, Sue, that others might have is, so I want to be a member. How do I do that? And then as a member, can you participate in as many classes as you'd like? Is it so many per semester? How does that look for people?
Okay, so very good question. We so registration, it's just like the typical school schedule, whether college or high school. We have the 2 semesters worth of classes. Okay, so we produce a very comprehensive course catalog prior to each semester. So I just sent that off to marketing this week to start the layout and design. That is all, will be available on our website. So our fall catalog will be published on July 26th on our website. And I did enter our website into the chat section, www.uwgb.edu/LLI for Lifelong Learning Institute. And so depending on what's going on, we've modified how many classes people can initially register for. So for the fall semester, people will be able to register for up to 20 classes. Okay, so some people, that's just not physically possible to take that many classes, because remember I said some of our classes go up to 6 weeks long. So that's just considered one class to register for, but it's 8 weeks long. So, but up to 20 classes people can initially register for. And then once the main registration is done, rosters are pretty much set to go, people can register for more classes, however many they can handle. So really there's no limit to the number of classes people can take each semester. So we've done studies. One of our members has done studies these last several years. Our Lifelong Learning Institute compared to others in the state and then in the country. And boy, our offerings are just top notch compared to other programs. We typically don't charge a fee for each class, which some lifelong learning programs do. Each class is $25. So we just have one yearly fee, and that covers 2 semesters worth of classes. So yeah. So did that answer? Did you have another? I'm trying to think if it answered all your parts of that question.
Yeah, that was great.
Great. Okay. Karen, anything else on your end?
Not that I can really think of. It's very easy to register, and you can always contact the office also to find out what's available, or if you need help with or want to register without being online, we can still handle that through the office. Is that correct, Sue?
That's right. That's right. And I'll put our, or Kelsey, if you want to, our LLI email. In the chat too. So yeah, we staff our front desk, or now they've been monitoring emails from home for the last year plus, but our volunteers staff the front desk in the office. So yeah, very friendly, very knowledgeable. So anybody have any questions about our program, certainly the information is on our website, or we have it in the chat section here. So.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both so much. This was just wonderful to listen to today. Really opened my eyes about all of the offerings that you have. I'm intrigued by several of them. Like Chris said, the thrift shopping one really sparked my interest too. Dr. Luloff, is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
No, this has been invigorating. stimulates me to sign up for LLI.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had enough time to do those things. Quote, I'm supposed to be retired. So now's the time to expand my horizons. And this is most exciting. Thank you.
And if anybody wants to, we do have guest passes. If somebody wants to attend an online class or an in-person class in fall, we can certainly get a guest pass to attend one class and just check us out. So we will be using Zoom as solely as our online platform going forward in fall. So
wonderful. Well, this will be shared to all of the participants who've joined us today and who have registered, and we're live on Facebook, so it'll live on there. And I'll make sure to add all of this information in the chat to the post and send that out. And thank you so much for joining us today, Sue and Karen. This was wonderful.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Bye.